Good morning. This is Marco, your emotional well-being coach, and welcome to episode 2 of our morning forest talks. Today I would like to talk about the brains. Yeah, because although when I think about a brain, and probably many others, maybe you think about brain, we think of the brain as one unit. But actually, we have 3 different brains. There is the reptilian brain, there is the emotional brain, and there is the logical brain. Why I would like to talk to you about this? Because each of these brains has got a very particular function, and being aware of the functions of our different brains is helpful for our emotional well-being and to lead a happy and emotionally regulated life. So the role of the reptilian brain is literally to keep us alive, is the non-thinking brain. It's what drives us to put our hands in case of an accident, that drives us to breathe, that controls our bodily functions, that gets us to put our hands down if we trip. It's literally our survival brain. It's the smallest of the 3 and sits at the base of our spinal cord. The emotional brain is what makes us feel. You could call it the feeling brain. And the amygdala, which is a very little gland, like the size of maybe a big nut, which is located, at the center, towards the center of our brain. It's what regulates our emotions. The third brain is the logical brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, i.e., all the top part, front part here. And this is, as the name suggests, the brain that is logical, analytical, is able to plan, it's able to make long-term plan, to have vision, to regulate emotions. Very important. So, of course, if you're listening to this and you are a teenager, it's still useful, but physiologically, of course, you are not yet fully developed in terms of your logical prefrontal cortex. Teenagers generally have 2 growth spurs, one around 13 and one around 17. And your logical brain gets fully developed around 18 or 19. But this is the subject, perhaps, of my next talk on teenagers. So why it's important to know about these brains? Because the lower 2 brains, the reptilian brain and the emotional brain, drive about 90 to 95% of our behavior. They keep us alive. They inspired ideas and hopes and what got us here as humans, with all the technological wonders and the advancements in science and medicine, driven by vision, who brought us poetry, music, arts, and so on. However, the emotional brain represents also, let's say, call it an unguarded child that might drive us to behave in a way that damages us and the people around us if it's not managed or controlled. So think of a situation where you were emotionally triggered and you reacted. Could have been a flare email, could have been the judgment of someone, could have been a burst of anger, could have been, drawing into depression or tearing up and so on. Because the emotional brain creates associations in memory, so is effectively our access to our memory. So it creates associations between memory and emotions. So if any of us has been traumatized or affected by particular events in the past, those are stored in our brain, and the emotional brain then scans for dangers 24/7. And this is where the logical brain comes in. The logical brain helps regulate our emotions and the activities of our emotional brain. So why this is important is because we need to be self-aware. This is what the logical brain does. It allows us to be self-aware of our emotions and what the emotional brain is doing. And this is not about denying or hating the emotional brain, but is more about being aware of it. And being aware that when there are those overwhelming emotions coming up, to take a moment, maybe do some anaerobic exercise like a long walk for 20 minutes, help. Take a moment to allow, for example, some of the cortisol that the emotional brain might have released in the body, which is the stress hormone, to leave our body, which again takes about 20 minutes, and allow the logical brain to respond to that stimuli. I hope that you find this helpful. If you want to know more, of course, you can always visit my website, healwithmarco.com, healwithmarco.com. I'm still offering 40 hours of free emotional well-being coaching. And if there is any emotional well-being subject that you would like me to discuss during this morning talk, please leave a comment. And I wish you all a happy life and a great day ahead of you, and also that the day that led to this moment has been filled with love, peace, and joy.